Day 2 of Grand Slam Track Miami is officially in the books, and on a weekend where the Shanghai Diamond League went off more than halfway around the world, the athletes in Miami made sure that their performances were recognized. Grand Slam Track built an arena. That's the only way I know how to explain it, where the fastest athletes in the world, at least if that's who you think you are, you get a chance to step into the ring. Once you do, you can prove that you are really the best. And for the most part, you get to throw hands. But remember, somebody can get knocked out. When you have athletes who decide that they're going to drop a brand new world lead when they show up to the slam, you don't really have much of a choice in the matter. You had better figure out how to go fast. And if you can't do it once, you better do it in the second race. And that is exactly what happened when new slam champions were crowned in several different events. That said, I'm pretty sure you want me to get to the action. And trust me, I'm getting to that. But I have to emphasize that being there live, it is abundantly clear that the athletes who are competing actually want to win. That is why the results we're getting are reflecting that. But remember, this league also said that they wanted the fastest athletes. And some of the athletes are just a little bit faster than everybody else, and we already knew it. Which is why the action got started in the women's 400 hurdles. When the long hurdles group went off, we all knew Sydney McLaughlin was going to be there. When you are there live, it is clear that Sydney is something different, because we're no longer just watching the race. We're actually just watching greatness. So yes, Sydney McLaughlin won the 400 hurdles, if you need me to say it. And when she did, she set a new world lead. Remember, the world lead was already hers because of the last slam. But yes, it's a brand new world lead. Nobody was shocked about it, and the field was almost an entire 2 seconds off of where she was. Because you see the amount of distance between her and the field, to be real, people immediately start looking at the clock, because I guess it starts to feel like that's who she's competing against. That said, she won the slam in Jamaica, but she's still gonna have to finish it off and win the one in Miami. But, I mean, let's be honest, I'm pretty sure how that recap's gonna go. And she's not going to be running in the long hurdles after this meet. She's already announced that she's going to be running in the short hurdles as well as the long sprints. Both of those are going to be incredibly entertaining because we're going to see her flat speed in the 100 and the 200. And we already kind of know what she's going to do in the 400. But that's also going to be a face-off with the women from the Olympic podium. So yes, stay tuned for that one. But moving on, I already told you what the theme for this meet has been. Athletes going out there to try to run world leads. And for the most part, they're succeeding. So in the men's long sprints, it was Jacorey Patterson, who for the record just came off of a world indoor medal in the 400. But although he broke 44 seconds to win the race, I do have to point out that Jareem Richards was not that far behind him, who set a new world lead just the day before in the 200. That makes him the new slam champion in the long sprints. And he said it himself. He doesn't care who steps into the ring. As long as he is in this type of form and going forward, he doesn't believe you can beat him. So yes, the warning shot has gone out. And coming down from an American record, the number 2 all-time performance in the women's 100 hurdles. We got that same group, the women's short hurdles group, coming back, this time in the 100 to crown a champion. Messiah Russell already won the 100 hurdles. She just had to finish high enough in the field to come out with the victory. That said, Akira Nugent, who, I'll be honest, I kind of expected to win the 100, did exactly that. But she's also been holding on, taking care of business in the hurdles. The only thing is, she may not be number 1, but she's been right there in both slams. So now, after winning this 100, she got the edge on the points. 18 points to 17 points to make her the new slam champion. That's back-to-back now for Jamaica between Danielle Williams and her. After that, Holly won the women's 1500 for the short distance events, and they're coming back on day 3 to crown a champion, just like the men's short hurdles. And when they got to the track, it was really a toss-up about who was going to win, because a whole bunch of men have already run fast this season. So it should not be a surprise that Trey Cunningham stepping in as a challenger, the same man who beat Grant Holloway just a few weeks ago. Yes, that Grant Holloway. He is now the victor in the 110 hurdles in Miami. That's 12 points to Trey Cunningham, But we still don't really know what's going to happen when the slam is over, because Sasha Zoya figured out how to be right behind him, just like he did in Jamaica. And then he ran away with the 100 on the final day. So if he does it again, he will be $100,000 richer. But that's also why we run the races. But if you're new here, I want to say thank you for even making it this far into the video. And I'm Coach Rob, the founder of SCArecruiting.com, where I rank the best track and field recruits across the entire nation. And if anything that I say actually connects with you, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe. But if I don't, just let me know in the comment section, because I try to read them all. And after all that, I have to admit that the highlight of the day probably does have to be the men's short sprints. Allow me to set the stage. Kenny Bednarek. He is running in the short sprints group. And considering they run the 100 and the 200, it's basically a foregone conclusion that nobody is stopping him from winning a 200. If they are, it's definitely not going to happen right now in the month of May. But yes, we still have to run the races. So when the 100 went off, considering he is the reigning slam champion from Jamaica, the general expectation was that somebody, actually, to be honest, a few somebodies were going to have to beat him to keep him away from winning the title. Well, Kenny Bednarek wasn't having it. He ran 9.79 seconds. Granted, it was slightly wind assisted at 2.4. In the field, still had several men who went 9.8 behind him. But yes, Kung Fu Kenny Bednarek is that man. He's got the fastest time in the world now, under all conditions, and he's taking the 100 seriously. Remember, the 200 is still on day 3, but I really don't expect that one to have anything less than him in front. But all the other athletes still have great incentive to keep running, because second place is wide open as far as I can tell. And fresh off of Josh Kerr's victory in the 1500, the men's short distance group came back to the track. Josh Kerr was obviously trying to run for the victory, but Marco Arop did exactly what he did in Jamaica. He won the 800 again. But when you look at the point scores, Josh Kerr didn't need to win the 800, but he did have to finish running hard to the line. That's exactly what he did. So yes, Josh Kerr, the same man who, just going to be honest, did not run well in Jamaica, and told us he was coming back and that he was going to put in all the work required to let us know who he is. He pulled off the victory. That is why he is the world champion and an Olympic medalist. And guess what? He is now a Grand Slam champion as well. And the final race of the day was in the women's short sprints, where considering Melissa Jefferson Wooden won the 100. She just had to take care of business well enough to win the 200. I did expect that Gabby Thomas was going to get that victory, and that's what she did. But you got to understand how she did it, because she ran 21.95 seconds. The only woman in the world who's gone faster is Julian Alfred up until this point. And yes, those are the same two women who went 1-2 at the Olympics back in Paris for 2024. Gabby Thomas came to that home straight, and she wasn't in front, but she reeled everybody in. And there was no doubt by the time they got to the line, she was the victor. This was not a photo finish. But Melissa Jefferson Wooden held on for third. In what I'm pretty sure was a personal best. You can check me in the comment section if you want to. I just know she's never gone that fast in college. And I don't believe she's been running the 200 much since she left that level. In 22.15 seconds, which is still incredibly fast. That was good enough for her to become now a repeat slam champion. Technically speaking, we've really only seen 5 days of Grand Slam competition up until this point. But it also feels like a whole lot more than that. Just consider, the slams are almost half over. And consider all of the world-leading times. For that matter, some of the record-setting times that have already gone down. There's something special when you put talented athletes on a track and get them to compete like it actually matters. Because guess what? The slams actually do matter. I get it. This is a new product. I totally understand that people are still trying to figure out where Grand Slam fits in the ecosystem that is pro track. But let me tell you, they don't just have a place. It is the type of place where if you think you're fast, you really want to be. because clearly something about the slams is bringing out the best. When Kenny Bednarek runs 9.79 seconds, he doesn't just do it in a random meet. He does it with Oblique Seville, Akeem Blake, and Jarnell Hughes, all running 9.8 right behind him. Remember, people want to see fast times, but it's really hard to accomplish that when you don't compete against the best. Grand Slam Track has decided that when you come to this space, you are competing against the best. That's who the racers actually are. And I am now at a place where I totally understand some athletes aren't there. And I'm not really going down that path as far as the conversation. But you do have to wonder, what will they look like if and when they get here? Because we've already seen the best come out of everybody else. That means you can't just do what you used to do. Certainly not in the month of April, May, or going forward with these slams. When you come to this ring, for that matter, this arena, you had better come correct. We are now headed to a world where you won't be able to just call yourself the fastest man or woman in the sport anymore. Pretty soon, you're going to have to go out there and prove it, and then prove it again. Because the only way to really be the best is you're going to have to go out there and beat the best. And when Grand Slam Track has that many world leaders on their stage, you now know who exactly you need to beat, if that's who you think that you are. In the sport of track and field, confidence is everything, because when you win, that is just the moment when everybody else finds out what you already knew to be true, that fast is a lifestyle. Get your Fast is a Lifestyle track and field gear at scarecruiting.com/shop, or use the link in the description below. It's a huge support to me and this channel, so I can continue to make you more content like this. And remember, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe.